Hello, I'm Anna Cantrell, and I attended the New Student Dialogue on Homosexuals in a Heterosexual World. And in this dialogue, we discussed basically how the world today and in the past has been primarily heterosexual because that's what's been more accepted, and how heterosexuals are treated differently, obviously, because they're homosexuals. And that brought up the discussion, of course, of gay marriage legalization type things, where in some places it's legal, some places it isn't, in which, of course, it obviously makes more sense for it to be legal, so people can just be free to think and do as they please, because as America, free place. And I think we definitely achieved true dialogue, because we had people from more conservative standpoints and people from more, like we actually had a homosexual in the class. And we had people who are just totally accepting of it, no big deal, which is probably more where I am. And, but I would say overall, most of the people in this dialogue were very accepting of homosexuality in general. There was a lot of active voices. A few of the more on the conservative side people discussed their feelings on how they feel against homosexuality, more based on how they grew up. And then that kind of brought on the discussion of northern views versus southern views, and how Southerners are viewed as more judgmental of homosexuality, and how Northerners might be more accepting. And I don't know if that's necessarily true, but it was definitely something we discussed. And I think that's views mostly because Southerners are mostly conservatives, is what you think of, a Southern conservative. And Northerners you think of as more liberal, and that brings up the conservative versus liberal thing again. And the actual homosexual in the dialogue didn't speak up as much as I thought, but he was definitely a good voice to have in the discussion. And there were more reserved voices. A lot of people, I think most everybody did speak some more than others, obviously. But yeah, there were obviously some reserved voices, and that's just probably more of a personality thing. Some people like to talk about everything they're feeling, and some people like to be more of the observer. And that was probably my role in the dialogue. Was more of the observing, listening. Just that's my personality, so obviously. I think the dialogue is part of Library 100 because it wants to expand your views on a topic you don't know a lot about, like homosexuality, and there's one on racial issues, probably, just to open your mind up to new things, and because cultural changes all the time, and when you come to Clemson, you're going to meet all kinds of people from everywhere, and I think that's another reason why they would want you to attend something like the New Student Dialogue, is to just prepare for all the different kinds of people you will meet. And yeah, it's definitely a useful tool, like I said, because it opens your minds up to new people, new ways of life, because there's so many people here, and so many people you're going to meet, so many new things you're going to do, and you have to prepare yourself for that, because you may come from a very different place, a very smaller life, and now everything's expanding and getting much broader view of things. And of course, that'll help you throughout whatever career you get if you know about things that are different from yourself. other than that, I was definitely surprised about the new student dialogue. I enjoyed it just because it was interesting to hear what people think about homosexuality. And I, of course, am very accepting of it, and I know many other people aren't, especially from South Carolina, I guess, primary conservative kind of state, which, yeah. And one thing I would criticize is that I think people are more inclined to take what they are more accepting of. Like, I think one of the reasons why most of the people in this new student dialogue are really accepting of homosexuality is probably why they took it. Like, people who aren't accepting of homosexuality wouldn't take this dialogue. That's the only thing I would say. But other than that, it was pretty interesting. And again, my name is Anna Cantrell, and I attended the New Student Dialogue Homosexuals in a Heterosexual World. And that's all.